violence in America reached new heights across the board. As a result, action movies started to ramp up the realism. Due in part to the introduction of meth, crime rates spiked around 1993 following an unprecedented rise. During this same time period, Predator, Terminator, Rambo, and slasher horror franchises redefined levels of acceptable violence in mainstream cinema. The general public began to see more violence in their everyday lives, especially those living near the LA riots. That era gave us a meme that continues even after its speaker's passing, and King's sentiment really shows the desperation some felt at that time. Times were changing, both at home and around the world, as the communist scapegoat collapsed. The United States, a nation proud of being well defended and ready to counterstrike, found itself without an obvious enemy, and became lost in its inner turmoil. This of course bears no resemblance to today's state of affairs. I assume. I haven't seen the news in like 3 years. A film that really captures that feeling of change and the alienation of society from itself, as well as the increase in violence and one-liners in cinema, is Falling Down. Directed by Joel Schumacher, before he put nipples on Batman, Falling Down follows the journey of two men trying to find their place in a world that's moving on from them. Both highlight the social shift occurring in everyone's lives. This from the same man that brought the world the Bat credit card. And that finishes the Schumacher jokes. Glad I got those out of the way. Let's go. Meet our main character, Defense. Yes, that's how he's accredited. He spends his time sitting in traffic, overheating, and letting the noise of living in the early 90s get to him. So he does what any sensible person would do. To be fair, walking probably would be faster. Our dearly disconnected Defense, let's call him Triple D, has had enough of that enemy that urbanization creates. Well, that one came a lot faster this year. Anomie, as described by Durkheim, is a separation of goals from reality, where society expects more from an individual than he or she feels capable of doing. That contract that people adhere to for order hinges on the structures of society reducing this helpless feeling. Triple D is done with the adherence routine and starts to walk towards his socially restricted goal. We'll get to that later. His stroll is only half the story. Our second main character is Detective Duval. Riding a desk after being shot, he's starting his last day on the job. It'd only be more stock if he were Irish and had a drinking problem. Duval's on his way out, and everyone in the station goes out of their way to remind him of that, with pranks, dismissing his input, and official speeches by Captain Dick.
They make me do this, you understand. I hate to lose a good cop.
His very next appearance.
Get back behind that desk where you belong, and don't waste any more of my time pretending you're a cop.
Man, and I thought Captain Matthews was bad. So Duval's co-workers and supervisors are doing a damn fine job of reminding him he doesn't really belong there anymore. Society conditioned them to do that, but it still sucks for the guy. Especially when he stumbles on the case of his career. He starts processing a robbery committed against this shopkeeping stereotype when he hears details that don't add up.
What's up my merchandise?
He didn't rob you?
The guy crazy. I told him, take my money. He say no. He called me thief. Then he break up my merchandise. Then he buy a soda and take off.
He bought a soda, you mean he paid for it?
I told you, the guy crazy.
Peculiar. Let's see what Triple D's been up to. Oh, right. Let's catch up on him. White and nerdy goes into a store to get quarters for the payphone. The store owner refuses to make change for him until he buys something. One cold Coke later and everything should be fine, except that cold one is 85 cents, thereby ruining the whole change plan. Triple D takes it well.
See, I'm not the thief. I'm not the one charging 85 cents for a stinking soda! You're the thief! Just standing up for my rights as a consumer.
Alright, as a disclaimer, I'm cutting a lot of his rant short because if I showed you all of his awesome and beautifully skewed lines, I'd be showing you the whole movie. I'll try to hit the highlights, but keep in mind, I can't get it all in there. After negotiating a fair price and a new bat, Triple D goes walking on a grassy knoll in the best part of town a gang could ever ask for. Then he takes time to use his shoe like a telescope.
Oh, no, you shouldn't be sitting on that bench, yo. No.
Why not?
Because that's the killer's bench, yo. Look, they're the killers. Quick, run before they say Mr. Brassside.
After realizing he's trespassed onto their turf, Triple D apologizes and says he'll be on his way. They demand a toll. He responds like a Grand Theft Auto character fresh out of the hospital.
Here's my briefcase! Briefcase, huh? Wait a minute, wait! Here! Clear a path!
a knife over a bat, I can kind of see it, but if it were actually Grand Theft Auto, I'd keep the bat. Or, find a chainsaw. Maybe a portable arsenal. Wow, he actually got one. The streets of the 90s were just paved with weapons, weren't they? That must have been a weird time to live in. Oh, keep the change, don't worry. What? Oh, complimentary machete. Thanks. I'll go really well with this Model 995 I just found. I love this town. Meanwhile, Duvall's piecing together events, seeing patterns emerge where no one else does, and fielding phone calls from his wife. And she's a real piece of work.
I wish you were home. Wouldn't you come home now? Look, Buster, while you have been there playing cop, I am at home planning your retirement.
I know that.
It's over. I want to know when the hell you're coming home now!
I'm not cherry picking either. Those are from across all 3 of her scenes. It's like she's a prototype of Sheila from Rescue Me. When he's not taking calls from the New York housewife, the detective's hearing about a lead from his former partner. Apparently, some guy with a white shirt and tie just held up a restaurant at gunpoint, then paid for his meal and left. Wait a second! Man, Triple D does not like to be ignored. Let's rewind a bit. Well, he was 3 minutes late to order breakfast, and when management refuses to serve him unless he orders from the lunch menu, he starts negotiating. Like a boss. There's something about pressed egg between stale bread that just completes me too, man. I feel ya. And really, it's a larger commentary on why is there a difference between breakfast and lunch. Everywhere should be Denny's. Then he enters a very seedy establishment in the wrong part of town. The part where he got all the guns at. And, well, at this point, we should probably say what the scene does to make this... it's worth elaborating on whatever I was talking about. DM?
And, after your over-elaborate pose, the boss slumps to the ground as his blood slowly starts turning to wine, and then... You know what? I told you Sailor Jesus would break the game!
Wow, I can't believe you're playing that again.
Yeah, well, curiosity killed the boss. So what do you want?
Explain how the atmosphere of a scene can help shape the party's action.
Oh, you mean that thing that all DMs take considerable time creating, yet most players ignore?
Yes, the hour's finally come for you to vent. Just don't do it for an hour.
The scene is a living thing, if done correctly. A party told that they walk into a room will likely not remember that room. A party that walks into a dank, dark cellar with black mold creeping at the edges of the torchlight will not only remember that, but most likely have a good sense of what it smells like, too. A dark, foreboding climate sets the tone for the scene to follow. It kind of puts the characters on edge, gets them ready to fight whatever golem comes running out of the darkness, ready to defend his preciouses.
Yes, the dungeon's a classic example, but let's go to something less obvious, like what Schumacher does in Falling Down.
Wait, Schumacher knew what subtlety was, and he still made Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze?
Some things defy reason. Talk about what he did right.
I really believe that mad scientist was a Forrester. He had the castle and everything.
No, not in Batman and Robin, in Falling Down!
The trail of destruction that Arheli leaves behind is not a clear-cut bloody swath. In fact, as he travels this weird road, he discovers that he's still fairly normal compared to the people he encounters. Up until his breakdown, that is. He tries to remain civil, and within society's rules, but the events he encounters kind of turn him against society.
The reaction of law enforcement in particular does do more to drive him to desperation.
And the funny thing is, all they're doing is asking questions about him. This scene is about as harsh as the cops press into the matter.
So, have you seen anyone like I've described?
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
It's not until the snap that anything radical even occurs.
Oh, the snap.
Yes, the gratifying Nazi rapist killing moment that everyone applauded. This single action takes him out of the category of conscientious objectors to society's norms and plants him firmly in the desperate man willing to go to any lengths camp. It's from here that the real Darmo spiral begins, and none of it could have happened without the setting.
Insightful, accurate, and precise. That's a 3-point landing, DM. Thank you.
Yes, and now, as per our contract renegotiation, you owe me... carry the 1, add the 2... approximately 8 hours of role-playing.
Hang on, this is all in a quid pro... You only did this because I do something for you?
Well, why else do you think I avoid going into tangents?
I do like the results. Just, have to rain check on the roleplay. I gotta finish this review.
Alright. It can wait. For now. Anyway. Sailor Jesus reses the boss and does his wine trick again. He gains infinity experience and ascends to heaven. Thank God.
Okay, so he gets his fatigues and starts his march again for the home of his estranged wife. Wait, did I mention that yet? No, I didn't. Hold on. Back up. Sorry, all this summarizing combined with all the heat of the lights, and I just... You know what? Let's go for a walk. I'll fill you in on the way. Triple D had a family which he lost due to no legally solid reason, but socially accepted circumstance. His wife felt threatened by his temper and control issues, so she divorced him and got a restraining order before anything could happen. Yeah, because taking control away from a control freak is how you calm the situation down. There we go. Actually, hold on. Much better. So, Triple D continues on his walk through LA and has one of the funniest lines I've heard in a movie.
Well, I guess you're out of luck, aren't you? Your little cart's going to drown. Now, aren't you sorry you didn't let me pass through your golf course? Hey, golf course? Yeah. And now you're going to die wearing that stupid little hat. How does it feel?
Classic. You know, this is nice. Just no anxiety, no pretense, just talking. Talking about a movie I enjoy. This is really the point of why I started this show. So, why did it take so long for me to walk out of that little room? Tittle's control balance theory. It states that either a surplus or lack of control leads to deviant behavior, such as creative price negotiations, destruction of property, breaking and entering, etc. Those that feel a lack of control are desperate to exert it in any way they can, regardless of the norms. That's Triple D's problem. His wife cut him out of her life, his job fired him, all despite him doing exactly what society instructed him to do. This poor guy just couldn't catch a break. Blind adherence to the behavior the group wanted just left him alone, so he felt within his right to make an exception for himself. He reached for the last bit of stability he could have. So when Detective Duvall finally corners him, he sums up his entire viewpoint with one beautifully innocent line.
I'm the bad guy?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
He never viewed himself as a problem because he was just doing what he was told. Just blindly applying templates that worked for everyone else. You know, that's a problem we all have from one time to another. Just hoping that doing what other people do to get by kind of works for us. We're all making it up as we go along. Except when we don't, we end up miserable. So you know what? I'm done. Watch this movie because it rocks. I'm the other Socio, and I'll never have a sign-off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a walk. Yeah.
One baby to another says I'm lucky to meet you. I don't care what you think, this is about me. It is now my duty to completely drain you. I travel through to end up in your affection.
See? I want him. But nobody ever listened to Kelvin. Why is the door still locked? Bacchus, bring me the key.
The sledgehammer?
Yeah, the key.